everyone? Welcome to a brand new episode of the Top 10 Show live for our patrons. I am the Outlaw John Rocha, joined as always by Matt Knost. How are you, Matt?
I'm good. I had the YouTube page open, so I was getting an echo of the song back and forth. That's why I looked kind of lost initially. I was like, why am I getting two intro songs? I didn't realize I needed to mute that. Just trying to, because we can't get the chat from YouTube over on our streaming service. So I just wanted to basically see that was up and running, just like I'm sure you were doing the same thing.
Yep.
But I'm good, man. How are you?
Good. Excited to be doing this, man. I mean, it's our first time. We're trying this out. This is a trial episode to see if we can start doing this as an extra perk for our $10 and above patrons. We're going to be recording the show live with you all. I see so many of you in the chat already. Johanna's in here. Josh Sachs is in here. Colson's in here. Robert Carney, Embrace Your Geekness. Happy birthday to you, by the way. Michael Dyke. So you patrons at the $10 above level will be able to kind of send in your chat and comment as we're going along. If this goes well, then our plan is to do it twice a month. And you guys are going to get this episode 5 days ahead of everyone else who gets it, who is not a $10 and above patron. And it's our way to kind of induce other people to either elevate themselves from the $5 or $1 to the $10, or bring in new people to start off at the $10 and above level. Right, Matt?
Yeah. And also, is a way to create, more value for the people that are already supporting us and trying to, we had Golden Ticket. We've done, we do Topic Thunder. We've done Thunderdome way back when. We've done we try and generate more shows and whatnot. So we're just trying to figure out basically what you guys enjoy, what you don't, and we winnow down from there and just streamline the process. Hopefully you enjoy this. I'm looking forward to seeing, what the chat has to say. If there's a coin flip, we're talking about maybe bringing somebody in for the coin flip.
Yeah. We might bring in people live. If anyone has a set of bongos, Matt, maybe they'll be brought in live to do the bongos for us. Much like what we do at our regular live shows, we will simulate a version of that on these shows twice a month going forward, if this goes well.
Yeah, just try and, I don't know, spice things up a little bit. Interact with the people some more. We enjoyed that so much from Golden Ticket. Why not kind of extend it over into, because we're not going anywhere anytime soon doing this show. Much as we would like to, that's just not in the cards.
At least for 2021. Well, hopefully we'll see in 2022 what happens. But yeah, it'll be a bit for sure.
Yeah. I'm still, I go on the Washington Post and I look at the vaccine tracker and they're like, 13.5% of the overall population. And it's still like 80% more until it gets to when I can have it. So it's like, I'm not doing shit for a while, dude. It's like, I'm same old song and dance. I talked to a friend of mine the other day that I hadn't talked to probably since right around when this all started. And
wow.
It's like a, hey, how you been type of thing. Because he's huge into hockey. And did you know this? They keep emergency goalies.
Yeah, that happened, I think, last year. They actually legitimately brought a dude out of the stands or had been like way down on the bench as an assistant coach or something like that. Yeah. And he was their emergency goalie, came onto the ice and played. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like one I just randomly stumbled upon. I don't even know how I did it on YouTube.
Yeah.
And it was those guys, like one guy was an equipment manager. Another kid was in college. And they get a 1-day contract. They maintain their amateur status.
Yeah.
But they get the jersey, they get the contract itself, and they also get the story. And I was like, what a great idea. And it's open to either team. If either team needs this person, he is a free agent. It's basically like all-time quarterback when you were a kid.
Right.
Who can throw the ball the best. It's like this guy fills in. I was like, oh, this is awesome. I text him. And then eventually it just came to, hey, how you been? It's like, I don't. Anytime that phrase is now meaningless. What you been up to? Fucking the exact same thing I've been doing for 11 months. It's no difference whatsoever. So
I think we crossed that line where it's gone from like where, okay, those of us who are like, this is great. I'm at home working from home, doing whatever. Now it's gotten to the point, even though Lindley and I still go out and grab food or whatever, or occasionally go outdoor to a restaurant down here in San Diego because it's a little more lax down here. Now it's just gotten to the point like, well, we can't actually go travel anywhere. We can't actually go to certain places, go to a concert, go to a movie theater, go to these things that kind of like allow you to feel a little bit more connected to humanity. And I think this is starting to get to us, you know, for sure. I mean, I know Lindley's been at times, she's been a little down on things because she just kind of wants to go out into nature. And it's not always the easiest thing because you see people walking around with no masks, not practicing social distancing, just being utter fools about it. So you have to kind of wait till this whole thing kind of plays itself out. So we crossed that line now where it was cool. And now it's a little bit like, it's getting a little frustrating finally for us as well.
Yeah, it ebbs and flows.
Yeah, for you?
I've had, in 1 year's time, I've had 3 bad days.
Wow, that's not bad.
No.
Well, for 1 year.
But I mean, 3 days where I turned into almost a toddler and just like, like just, I am sick of it. And within a couple hours, I'm fine.
Yeah.
With needing to vent, but there have been 3, which is like this stupid situation, and just I can't do something simple because the process is just too difficult to do that simple thing.
Yeah.
And it's still plausible, and it's just like, oh, I have to go and do this, and then this, and then this, and it's going to take but only 3 that I can think of where I flat out was like, I'm done.
Yeah.
But everything else, I don't know. You're just like, I'm healthy. I'm not starving. I'm not in Texas right now, freezing my ass off.
Yeah.
It's like it could be a lot worse. And that's what I try and remember each and every time. But it's, it's right. Frustrating just like it is for everybody else.
Well, I mean, speaking of Texas, shout out to Ed Buskirk. He just told us, rock on. How is everyone? We just got electricity back here in Texas just in time. So Ed, thank you for joining us. As soon as your power came back on, you're immediately turning to the top 10 show. Priorities, my man. Priorities.
I love it. They're asking you to not use appliances to try and limit your power grid. But Ed's like, Bobby, how much power does my laptop really take?
I got to watch this top 10 live, man.
I've been staring at my walls for 3 days.
I love it. I love it. People are already speculating about our list today. Of course, we're talking about the top 10 Marvel Cinematic Universe movies. Matt, already in the chat, people are speculating where we're going to put certain movies. It's hilarious.
Yeah, I'm sure. And we haven't done this one in, what was it, 3 or 4 years since we've done an MCU?
At least.
And there's been quite a few additions since that last show. So we're like, why not? What's old is new again.
Exactly. It's been a bit for sure.
It has, and it also seems like it'd be a good one for the chat.
Yeah,
people would definitely have opinions.
Yeah.
So keep it lively, keep it fun.
What do you feel like? What do you feel now? I mean, like WandaVision has started, so that's essentially the beginning of Phase 4. So, how do you feel now? Looking back on what they've been able to do since 2008, I mean, it's a completely different world. And even before COVID came around, it completely changed the world. It's been a completely different world in terms of cinematic movies since 2008. It's this superhero genre that has absolutely owned the theaters for the last 13 years. It's insane.
It gives Scorsese fever dreams every night. Just
him and Coppola texting each other at 4 a.m.
Exactly. Guy's wearing a leotard. The other day I watched a documentary called Doomed on the Final Four, the Corman Final Four movie that never got released.
Oh, yeah.
And it's with all the actors, the production staff, directors, casting.
Right.
And just talking about the process of they thought they were making a good movie. And with all the people discussing it, whatnot, they genuinely did. They gave their all.
Yeah.
No one is shirking like I know we were making a stupid movie. We're actively trying and doing the best we can.
Right.
But to know that there was a time when that was a superhero movie.
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
And now it is the #1 box office draw, hands down. Like nothing generates more than Marvel.
Yeah.
It's beyond its own cottage industry. It has become the overall industry. I mean, it's really impressive.
Yeah.
And they keep churning out interesting content all these years later. Like WandaVision is a deviation, but it's intriguing.
Yes, very much so. And that's what they had to do, Matt. I mean, I think that's what has been so incredible about Marvel is, yes, I know people can say, oh, it's the same villains or same kind of, they don't have the best villains and what have you, but
They don't.
They are still pushing the boundaries or reinventing themselves, depending on who's coming in to direct the movie. Black Panther was incredible for what it did, getting nominated for 3 Oscars. Then you turn around and get Captain Marvel, a female-led a superhero movie that makes over $1 billion. And then you turn around and you've got WandaVision, which is completely different from what they did. Doctor Strange was different from what they'd done before. So there have been moments where they've kind of taken the chances. Guardians of the Galaxy really was the first like kind of departure from the standard superhero presentation that we'd seen in the past. And so it's phenomenal to see Kevin Feige understand and read the market successfully and read the consumer successfully enough to be able to present so many different approaches to these heroes and make them work. And after WandaVision, we have Falcon and Winter Soldier in March. We have Loki. We have so much more. Moon Knight's coming as well. We got Secret Invasion down the road. All kinds of stuff happening now to expand the universe out even more, both film and TV. It's pretty incredible.
Yeah, the Falcon and Winter Soldier, I'm not excited for that one. Hopefully it's good. I'll watch it if it is good, but I'm not that excited for that one.
Wow, okay.
But Loki looks very interesting.
Yes, it does, yeah.
And then Moon Knight, I know nothing of.
Really? Oh, okay.
No, I have broad strokes understanding.
Right.
I can visualize what the character is. I know a little bit of the backstory, but I never read the comic, so I don't have any working understanding of it. And that came out long after I stopped reading comics.
Right.
So, I mean, I didn't really know anything about Deadpool all that much outside of people putting comic book panels and whatnot up. I knew he liked chimichangas. I knew he told jokes. He had a thing for the Golden Girls. But it's broad strokes. You don't know the character at that point.
Right.
But they're still wildly successful. So Moon Knight, from what I know, sounds interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Falcon and Winter Soldier, I don't know. Maybe it'll be good.
I mean, the trailers look fantastic. And it's coming, I think, 2 weeks after the last episode of WandaVision. So it'll be right there. And then 2 weeks later, boom, March 13th, 18th, something like that, right? March 19th, the same weekend that Zack Snyder's Justice League comes out, Falcon and Winter Soldier starts its first episode. So it's an interesting battle you're going to be having on a Friday. I'm just marking off that entire day to just watch both of those things for sure. So we shall see. It looks fantastic.
Snyder has what, 2 versions, a color and a gray version coming out?
Yeah, I don't know if he's got the gray version. I don't know if the gray version is going to come out at the same time. But yeah, that new one the trailer that just dropped a few days ago, it's very, very, as you said, a lot of color in that one. But there is the possibility of the black and white one coming out as well.
Did you see the Mortal Kombat trailer?
I haven't watched it yet. I'm going to watch it a little bit later.
I don't know how I feel about it.
Really? Okay.
I mean, it looks like a vast improvement over.
Yeah.
But that's setting the bar incredibly low. All you need to be better is this schlock. Be like, well, and they've got some good actors in it too. So I don't know. I hope it's good. It'd be fun.
Right.
But at the same time, it's like, okay, it seems also hokey a little bit.
Oh, there's still from the trailer, you sense that it's still a little hokey.
Oh, okay.
Like 90s hokey or
hokey in this. Okay, so like Prometheus. They go around and they find the cave paintings and whatnot from all different millennia. Yeah. So they have something similar in the trailer to that and be like, throughout civilizations, everybody has this, there's this quote unquote, tournament of champions or some shit like that.
Yeah.
So it's something that's been passed down over the ages, but ancient civilizations knew about it. And now they're basically, the tradition is starting again, or the tournament is starting again. But I was like, really? So everybody's had their tournament of champions, but then some of the effects look really cool. I don't know.
Right.
It's a paper thin premise for a video game as is. To flesh it out to a movie is always going to be a little bit difficult.
Yeah.
But that being said, I mean, look at they turned Pirates into the Caribbean of the Caribbean from a ride into a $1 billion franchise. So it's possible.
Yeah. That's all possible, for sure.
Yeah, we've done it. Peter Jackson has stretched out paper thin premises into 7 movies before.
I'm going to let that go.
I'm sorry. The Hobbit pamphlet was...
That's no pamphlet. That thing is like 365 pages long.
Is it? Why don't you do a quick Google search and see the length of The Hobbit? I think you might be stretching it. Although it could be it's 365 compared to the massive codices, the Encyclopedia Britannicas of the other Lord of the Rings, trilogy.
304 pages. 304 pages. So I was close.
Okay. But that's in essence, I believe that's shorter than Jurassic Park. Jurassic Park is one movie.
I also think, you can do every 100 pages is one movie. What's wrong with that? I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Well, if there's enough action to justify
action. Listen to this one over here. Action. Okay.
Well, okay, action, story, compelling drama.
There wasn't much action in those first Lord of the Rings movies. That first movie is just everyone running across a mountain for fucking 3.5 hours. It was ridiculous. Wow. There's not a lot of action in that first movie.
But they have to set up the interplay and all the characters of these 9 individuals because we're going to spend another 7 hours with them after this.
Yeah.
So it's like a TV show. Look at Game of Thrones. They had to set up for so long, and then when it broke, it was worth it.
Yeah.
So I think that is the case. Whereas in The Hobbit, it's like, I don't know that we need. Yes, the band of individuals is as large, but everything that transpires afterwards isn't as fulfilling for this guy, at least.
That's fair. Everyone's entitled to their opinion, whatever that may be. Yeah.
And some opinions are, more correct in this regard than others, and that's fine.
Sure. Coulson trying to be a smartass saying the third movie is like 5 pages of the book. No, it isn't, Coulson. It's the last 60 pages of the book. Get real. Jesus.
Do you know that for a fact?
Because you finally got a question wrong.
Stance before?
Yeah, I will defend this stance. Multiple times I've defended this stance. So, yeah. I mean, I think, the scripts that are 2-hour movies are 120 pages, right?
Ish,
so, So, maybe he embellished a little bit. Look, they took a pamphlet that was Shawshank Redemption and turned it into a 2.5-hour movie. So, sometimes it's okay to expand out from the world that's been presented in a story in a book.
Yes, but did they turn that pamphlet into the equivalent would be 2 movies for The Hobbit? They turned 300 pages into 3 movies that is incredibly long. So however long Shawshank was, it was a short story, but that would be the equivalent, I guess, of turning into 2 movies. It's like, I don't know if we need to spend this much time with. So it's 15 minutes of him crawling through shitty pipe.
Would you have had an issue if they had a sequel to Shawshank Redemption?
Yes.
You would have had an issue to a sequel?
Well, okay. It depends on how good the movie was, but why does that movie need a sequel?
I'm just saying it doesn't
in Mexico
necessarily, but
what
could be.
They got to break back in to get their friends out of jail.
Yeah, maybe.
So it's prison break. And he goes in, and he's all fully tatted. I never watched that show.
What's the name? I never watched that show. It wasn't my jam.
Something Miller, wasn't it? The actor? Is that what you're trying to
Wentworth Miller, I think was his name. Yeah. And then the other guy who played the devil in Blade Trinity.
2?
Dracula in Blade Trinity. Yeah, the
Blade 3.
Yeah.
Well, what name were you trying to come up with?
I can't remember the name of the other guy in Prison Break because the first guy's isn't that Wentworth Miller?
I believe so.
And then I think it's Dominic Kinnear is the other name, but I'm not sure. Maybe they can correct us in the chat. I don't know.
Never watched it. Do not know.
Yeah, see, Josh Murray says Shawshank's the short story is 11 pages. They turned that into a 2.5-hour movie. So come on, I think The Hobbit is doing better than that in terms of Dominic Purcell. That's it, Dominic. In terms of comparison, just saying.
You're telling me that The Hobbit succeeds as well as Shawshank does?
I can't say that, no.
Okay.
But I can say that I find them more enjoyable than the Lord of the Rings movies overall. Although...
Well, that's neither here nor there.
I will say the battle scenes in Lord of the Rings are incredible. Helm's Deep is one of the greatest battle scenes you'll ever see on screen, fantasy or reality. It's incredible, man, to watch. So, yeah, that's what I would say.
Yeah, I don't know. But anyway, we didn't watch Prison Break, so there you go. Don't have anything on that.
Yeah, it's not our jam. It's not our
No,
jam.
we've been watching docuseries lately.
Oh yeah, what are you into
Yeah.
now?
We watched one on a drug lab scandal in Massachusetts on Netflix.
Oh yeah. Okay,
That was super interesting.
cool.
Started that Cecil Hotel one. That thing's terrible.
Yeah, I hear it's bad.
It's terrible. The
Yeah.
entire second episode, they didn't need.
Mm.
Like something they talk about for 5 minutes in the first episode, they spend 15 minutes on saying the exact same things literally over and over and over again for 15 minutes. It's like, what was the fucking point of this? The very end of it, they get to a new kernel of something, but at the same time, it's like, this is so annoying. If you've never hated quote unquote YouTubers more than the 25 minutes of cyber sleuths, and this is after watching Don't Fuck with Cats, which is excellent.
Literally talked me out of that when she's like, I'm telling you, it's an insane
That's
show.
good.
Yeah.
That was good. Cecil sucks. I would not waste your time. We stopped after 2, and then basically, spoiler alert, they don't know who did it. So it was pointless.
I read one review and that was it for me. Like I read the review and I was like, oh yeah, I'm not going to see this. This makes no sense to me at all. So no thanks.
Yeah.
I got a leaking thermostat here or something. Anyway, yeah, go ahead. Keep going. I'm sorry.
It's pure metal, isn't it?
Yeah, it's supposed to be. I don't know what this is all about. Maybe I just put it on water or something.
Yeah,
if it's leaking, I got to take it back to Costco where I got it. It's this is a 40-ounce thermo flask. They have them for like the discounted right now for like $20, 2 of them. So I was like 40 ounces. I want to drink more water. This is a way to do that. So anyway, sorry. Go ahead, Matt. What were you saying?
I'd be impressed if that thing was like there was a puncture on the bottom.
Yeah, I know. I don't know. Maybe I just put some water on it or something.
Yeah. Anyway. Anyway.
Well,
I mean, we were talking about random TV shows, but
we were. We are watching. What did we just watched? I don't know. We're just watching British stuff, man. We just finished up The Bay, second season of The Bay.
Okay.
Then that 3rd episode of The Investigation dropped on HBO Max, which is stellar.
Okay.
And we just saw a 3-part TV series on BritBox starring the guy who plays Gaston, Luke Evans, and it's about this cops reopening of a cold case.
Yeah, the Pembrokeshire.
Yeah, Pembrokeshire murders. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we've watched episode 1 of that.
It's good. It's good. Tore through all 3 episodes at once, man. It was good, man.
Is that all there is in totality?
Yeah, there's only 3. There's only 3.
Okay.
And then there's a documentary, an accompanying documentary that I think is like 30 or 45 minutes that with the actual detective and the people involved and what have you exploring that. So I recommend that as well.
Yeah, we'll finish.
Oh,
we'll watch that one.
I can't do Bridgerton. Bobby Carney's asking. I don't know, man. I saw that trailer. I was like, maybe this is a step too far.
Catherine watched it, and I peeked in a couple of times, and it's like, no. It's basically, to me, it's Grey's Anatomy set in Victorian England or whatever it is.
I don't want to watch that.
It's the same vibe. It's like, no, thank you. This isn't for me.
Yeah, and apparently, and look. I love the fact that you're having a multiracial cast and telling the story, an actual story of this woman who was, I think she was black and she was a lady in that time. So that's great. But like, the way they talk about it and all the sex and all that, I was like, yes, it's not really for me, man. I don't watch the period pieces for the banging. I watch the period pieces for being in that world and what have you. And I don't mind stuff like The Fountain, right? That kind of goes the other direction with it and has fun with it. I'm sorry, the favorite, where they go the other direction. Yeah.
I was like, okay.
No, The Favorite, that's a whole different take on it. Or The Great, that Hulu series that was on with with Nicholas Hoult and what's her face?
I know who
Elle Fanning. Fanning. Yeah. It was so damn good because that's a different situation. But this feels weird to me. So it's not my jam.
Yeah. No. We started Pennyworth. That's all right.
Oh yeah, the one about the butler, right?
Yeah, about basically Alfred's backstory. It's interesting.
The one on Epics. Yeah. That dude is good too.
It's got a couple like incredibly gory parts, but they cuss. There's been a little bit of nudity. So I was surprised.
Yeah. And what about the Tiger Woods doc? Have you gotten to that yet?
I have not.
Okay. All right.
I mean, I will in time. It's just
Yeah.
we've actually found a few different shows lately. So
that's good. That's good.
Yeah. Finally got her onto watching documentaries, and she's enjoying it. So docuseries for right now, but eventually we'll move on. I'll get her onto documentaries. Yeah. Hopefully, fingers crossed.
I just finished Al Davis versus the NFL, which is the new 30 for 30, detailing the battles they had. And they did the Uncanny Valley thing where they bring the people in. Did I talk about this last week? I sometimes forget things I've told you. So yeah, this thing, it's basically they bring a CGI version, like kind of did the Rogue One with Grand Moff Tarkin. They bring in that version of Al Davis and that version of Pete Rozelle, and they talk about it kind of in the dark a little bit, so you don't notice the Uncanny Valley too much. They put them a little bit in the dark, and they talk about their relationship and their battles and what have you. And then they go back and obviously show archival footage of the back and forth that they'd had and explain the history of those two men and the battle between the Raiders and the NFL when they were trying to move all the time and all that stuff. So fascinating doc for sure. Interesting convention to use. Yeah, unique. Certainly that. I don't know if it 100% worked, but it was nice to watch or remember what happened at that time. Because, you see teams moving all the time now. You forget how when the Raiders did it, it was massive. It was massive in the NFL to have that happen. So anyway.
Yeah, I don't know if I know the backstory there, so I don't know if I need to get it fleshed out. But if it's good, then I'll watch it.
Fair enough. But anyway, that's not what we're here to talk about, Matt. And that's what our patrons are in the chat for. And thank you to all of you who are $10 and above patrons. You're enjoying us live. We're seeing your comments and
boatloads.
It's causing a lot of conversation here on the show. This is what you're going to get every 2 weeks. Like I said, if it goes well today, you'll get this every 2 weeks. We'll do a live one there for you guys and what have you. And today we're talking about the top 10 Marvel Cinematic Universe movies. Matt, there's bound to be a lot of back and forth between us on these. These have been some great movies. It was tough to choose just 10. Could have argued for 12 to 15, but
pretty easily
had to cut it. Yeah. How about you?
Yeah, I mean, I just pulled open a list of all MCU films and then cobbled together the ones that genuinely were going to had a shot at making the list.
Yeah.
And some of them's easy to nix off and be like, no chance in hell, no chance in hell. There's very few of those.
Yeah.
And then I ordered my list on, okay, so you have whatever, this list of 15 or so. I don't know how many specifically. If I can only watch one, which one? Boom.
Right.
That's number one. Okay, take that off the list. If I can only watch one of these, which is it? And that's how I made my list. Because you could argue like, oh, this one's a better made film or whatnot, but it's just like, yeah, but I know I'm going to watch this other one more. So for me, it's as arbitrary a way to make this list as any other. And I know that people will have variations or how do you exclude this and not have that but I think that's just a testament to how good, by and large, Marvel has been. I mean, their consistency is kind of second to none.
Yeah.
Say them and Pixar. Like, find me another that when it's coming out, there's a shot that it's going to be good to excellent.
Yeah.
Pretty consistently. So it's impressive. I don't know how you came across, formulated your list.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I mean, I had, like I said, a list of about 15 that I considered and then went the same route. Like, which one should I put up here? Which one, if both discs were in my hand, which one would I put in? And so that's kind of the way I went about it. And maybe in a week, it's slightly different, not too much, but slightly different depending on, a couple of placements maybe on the list. But overall, that's how I approached it. Which are the ones that I would want to put in to watch? And then overall, which are the ones that I feel like deserves a little more respect for what they were trying to do? So all of that got factored in for me. So a lot of it moving around, but yeah, I'm pretty happy with the list for sure.
Yeah, I don't think the respect thing I thought about this one pushed boundaries or whatever kind of formulation. I just screw it because it's such kind of we all have, if you're a movie fan and you like superhero movies, and then you have an attachment to these.
Right.
So I just went with my genuine appreciation for it. Like I would watch that one over all these others and then write down the list. And I didn't. Sometimes I do, just like you do. You factor in like, but I know this is a better movie. I may rewatch this one, but I know this is in this case, just like I don't think that one matters as much to me in this list specifically.
Right.
But I can't wait to find out why I'm wrong in the chat.
Ditto.
God bless you. Go ahead. Fire away. I don't, it's the beauty. How do you not have this? And be like, I just would rather watch these. That's all there is to it.
Yeah, we will bring some of you guys in with some of your comments and what have you if they apply as we're going along. So get ready for that. So if you don't want to have something highlighted that you're saying, don't say it. Don't put it in the chat because we might put it up on the screen for everyone else to look at. And Steve Schluckerbuyer, he's like, so Iron Man 2 is number 1. Now let the chaos begin. Yeah, there you go. No. Mark Andreyko is not on the show today. So Iron Man 2 will not be number 1. That's for damn sure. One of our most legendary episodes, Matt. For sure.
No, Iron Man 2, spoiler alert, and Iron Man 3 for me. Spoiler.
Yeah, spoiler.
Will not be making my list.
Okay, good to know.
Those were 2 of the 4 easy. Nope.
Not gonna do it.
Not even gonna merit consideration.
Totally understandable.
Yeah. Maybe a little Far From Home was an instant nix for me.
Wow. Okay. Strong statement. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't, but that being said, there's still, it's much rarer. Whereas in DC, it's like, it's kind of the inverse. It's tougher to find movies that unequivocally I enjoy from start to finish.
Right. I agree.
Whereas at Marvel, it's pretty simple.
Yeah.
But anyway, so you ready to jump in?
Yeah, let's do it. Please let them know how the show works, Matt.
Once we set a topic, we go our individual ways and create personal top 10 lists. Show back up here. I do my bottom 3. He does his bottom 3. I do my next 2. He does his next 2. Then we trade 1 apiece. Once we have revealed our personal top 10 list, we create the shows between the 2 of us.
Boom.
I think 10 might actually be the hardest.
Yeah, right. Because it's the official cutoff. It's the official cutoff.
It is.
Everyone else behind did not make the cut. And
exactly.
It's tough.
Like 1 through 8, 1 through 9, I was like, bing, bing, bing. And then I got to 10. I was, oh man, there's still another 3 or 4 movies that deserve to make this list.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm hoping you have the other one.
Who can say?
That's my hope.
Who can say?
So 10, I'm just going to choose. I wrote down both. Spider-Man Homecoming.
Okay. That is that is my number 10. That is my number 10. Yes. Spider-Man Homecoming. Absolutely. Bringing up my list here. Yeah.
Yeah. The best of the non-animated Spider-Man for me.
Yes. Okay. All right.
I prefer,
2 doesn't hold up for you.
I prefer it to 2 now.
Okay.
Parts of 2 I think are fantastic.
Yes.
Like when Doc Ock's arms come to life and then it turns into that comic book panel as all the sentient nature of those arms, comes to fruition.
Yeah.
Just beautiful. It's got several moments when Doc Ock is going up the side of that building. It's like, wow, this is everything my imagination conjured when I was a kid reading these comic books.
Right.
But overall, I think Spider-Man Homecoming captures more of the essence of the character to me.
Yeah.
He seems more teenager-ish as opposed to 25-year-old playing a 19-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
And the tone, I think Michael Keaton as Vulture is just perfect. He brings the right amount of menace.
Stellar.
To it, but it's not over the top.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a good Marvel villain that I wish they would bring back, but I don't really know if that's ever going to happen.
Oh, they are. I mean, I think they're lighting up the Secret Six.
Are they?
Soon. Yeah. I mean, having him in the post-credit scene, and he shows up in the Morbius trailer, the new Morbius trailer that dropped a few months ago.
I haven't seen that. I knew it came out.
Yeah, he's definitely coming back. And so I don't know if he's going to be the leader of the Sinister Six or what it's going to be, but he's going to be coming back for sure. Yeah.
Well, I saw that they said Jamie Foxx is coming back.
Yes, possibly in the Multiverse of Madness or in Spider-Man 3. I think in Spider-Man 3 he's going to be coming back. Kirsten Dunst is apparently coming back. They haven't said whether Toby or Andrew Garfield are coming back, but apparently there's negotiations happening. I don't think Rhino's coming back, thank God. But Doc Ock is coming back. Alfred Molina is coming back to play Dr. Octopus.
I didn't mind. Like, Giamatti was given so little.
Yeah, but it was terrible. That accent, all of it was just like, that's not Rhino.
Yeah,
the nebbish 40-year-old guy looks like he did my accounting last week is not Rhino. That is not Rhino.
Okay.
So,
well, what do you want? Some big muscle-bound
yes,
individual?
That's Rhino. Yes.
Well, if you put him in that big mechanized suit that they had in this, because I think to some degree that makes Rhino more believable. It's a great character in the comic books. And I think Juggernaut could translate, but a guy in a big Rhino suit is more difficult as opposed to if you put him in a mech suit. It's like, that seems more believable to me.
Right.
But Homecoming, I mean, what a great interpretation of Vulture. Because it was one of Spider-Man's villains that I was always kind of indifferent towards. He was fine.
Right.
I would rather see Green Goblin or Kingpin, or there's a list of people that I would get to before I got to Vulture. And to see it brought to life, just taking it from a simple wings and whatnot and putting drone-like turbines in the wings and it's flying around. It's just, I don't know. It helped increase the menace that Keaton can already portray so well with those steely eyes. And the balance between him and the boyish kind of joy and energy of a Tom Holland. They just got quite a bit of that, out the gate.
Yeah.
Really well.
Yeah. Agreed. Yeah, I enjoy that too. And I like what, it's a difficult situation. Tom Holland walking into a role that's already been done by Andrew Garfield, like a couple of 3 years ago or 5 years ago. Then, Tobey Maguire and the legacy he had left with a lot of people who are Spider-Man fans. But Tom Holland did such an excellent job of bringing you all the way back to the foundation of Spider-Man. High school kid, smart talking kid, kind of skinny kid, all the underdog is in essence but he's super intelligent. And when he gets bit, all that happens around it. I like that they skip the origin story and it's just the way it is. I like that Marissa Tomei is an Aunt May, but she's a hot Aunt May. That's an interesting new angle that they can play
Uncle
with.
Ben.
Yeah, no Uncle Ben, none of that stuff. He is what he is already. And they add the Tony Stark thing. I know a lot of people are upset about the Tony Stark thing, but I'm like, no, I think it's important to have that in there. You got to have a little bit of guidance, a little bit of a father figure.
Yeah, gives him a father figure.
Yeah, and it totally works. Absolutely works. And him struggling with his powers, struggling about how to advance and get better and become an Avenger. And then what he does at the end, when he gets the opportunity to become an Avenger, is a really powerful moment as well. So I think there's so much that works so well in that movie.
Turning it down, knowing that he's not ready, even though they were more than willing to bring him on.
Right.
But I think it's good. Take him back. Let's keep him different than all the others. He can still join.
Yeah.
Like he did in movies that may or may not come up in discussions later. It's fine. You can still bring him into all these others, but you don't have another character in high school or that gets to be a young kid. So
yeah.
Why not take advantage of that?
Yeah.
Makes him unique within this, kaleidoscope of superheroes.
Right.
They all need to stand out, but not for just anomalous reasons. Like this is a legitimate one. He's a kid.
Yeah. And Matt, already we have someone who's thrown their computer at the wall. Johanna says, at 10, are you guys mad? And then James says, Homecoming is actually my number one. Well, James, you're wrong. And so is Johanna.
Well, considering your avatar looks like a dog pooping, that's either that or throwing up. So
that's a great point. Great point.
No, cute dog though.
That's great.
Dog doesn't look exactly healthy in that picture.
No, he doesn't. All right. Let's move on. What's your number 9, my man?
My number 9 is Civil War.
Wow. All right. Slight punt. Not a big punt, but a slight punt for sure.
Okay. So why the over the top exuberant wow if it's just a slight punt?
Oh, I thought it would be a little bit higher. That's all.
It is not.
Yeah, it isn't. It isn't. I can tell now.
Um,
All right. So what's your number 8?
my number 8 is the first Avengers.
Oh yeah, no, didn't even make my list. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I rewatched it during quarantine. It still works. And going into it, the expectation, my only thought was, I'm not sure how they're going to make this work.
Yeah.
Like, how do you really pull this off? You haven't introduced Hulk to people yet, even though everyone knows who Hulk is, but you don't really have a firm grasp on these characters.
Right.
At least as far as the general, public is concerned, going to see it. It's a lot of new. You've seen flashes of Hawkeye, but you haven't really seen Hawkeye. He's in Thor, and that was it up until that point, but it was a tiny little thing. And now you need to cement him as one of the Avengers. I don't know. I just thought even now when I watch it, it's the right progression, the amount of stakes. And also I think subtle little things like the amount of technology, having that hover ship thingamabob. It amps it up just a little bit more, and bringing in the Tesseract shows you that it's beyond the scope of just this planet. Right now, we just had infighting in essence. And to see that, no, actually we need to get past that, the wars going on at home, because there's a battlefront that you're oblivious to as of right now.
Right.
And the looming threat. And it's a great introduction to the peril that exists and we see later on. And I think it just, I don't know, it's got the right blend of comedy with the superhero aspect of it. And they, Joss Whedon handled that with a plum. I realize he's persona non grata, currently, with all the Buffy stuff now coming out. It doesn't seem like that was a fun set to be on for a few different individuals.
It doesn't feel like it was any of his sets were fun to be on, if you take Ray Fisher's story as well for the reshoots on Justice.
Oh, yeah. Forgot about that. So will that, affect how I view this film over the course of time? I don't know. Perhaps it will, but right now it's, that's neither here nor there for the time being for my feeling about the movie as a whole. But I thought the team up band of brothers was so beautifully done that you got the dynamic within all of them. And it really cemented Cap's place for me. As the leader of this, and why you would need someone like Captain America, because that was the biggest question mark, because I didn't read him in the comics. I always found him not as exciting as the other characters. And to see why you need a Boy Scout to lead the charge makes all the sense in the world, on the big screen, to just kind of keep all these various personalities in line and just focus on the common goal. You need some order, you need structure, you need somebody kind of drilling you. And I don't know, it just it's still successful to me. And having watched it recently, my opinion has not changed. There you go.
Oh yeah, I appreciate that, and that's 1,000% what a lot of people feel. I imagine, and it was a hard cut for me, but it was a cut that needed to be made, in my opinion. Not about Joss at all, and I totally respect that. And honestly, that just makes my feeling about the film even more valid overall. I don't think his stuff holds up the way other people's stuff holds up in the MCU. And I rewatched this film maybe 8 months ago, and I remember just like going, this is not as good as I remember it. Some of the writing is really clunky. Some of the scene transitions don't work for me. Some of the cutesy humor gets a little bit grating, to be honest. Now in retrospect, at the time, certainly I was caught up just the idea of, oh my God, we're getting all these, superheroes on the screen coming together, becoming the Avengers. There's still some really great moments. I mean, the moment down when they're down in New York, when all this stuff is happening, and he got Cap gives everyone their duties, Hulk smash, all of that is really cool. The fight sequences there are awesome. And Hulk fighting Thor is funny. And then saving the helicarrier is cool. But overall, though, I just feel like some of the dialogue just doesn't work for me, and some of the scenes don't hit the way they used to emotionally for me. So when someone says, "Let's watch Avengers," I'm not down to jump into it and watch it. So that's why in the end I cut it off of my list. But I totally respect a lot of people who like this movie a lot. So I know a lot of people do. So all right. So then what's was that your number 8?
That's my 8.
Okay. All right. So then my 10, as we said, is Spider-Man Homecoming. My 9 is Iron Man. Is that on your list?
That is a slight punt.
Okay. All right. All right. And then my 8 is Doctor Strange.
That is also a punt.
Okay. All right. Let's move on. What's your 7?
My 7 is Iron Man.
Okay. Let's do it. Let's talk about it.
Still holds up.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
It's really impressive all these years later that I enjoy it. I wouldn't say as much as I did when it initially came out, because I was slightly gobsmacked in the theater. My Batman was my all-time favorite, but in the MCU, Iron Man was near the top to me, because I was like, I love Batman so much. Iron Man's roughly the same thing.
Right.
It's the only lone regular person in the midst of, in the comics that I was reading, in the midst of all these people with pretty amazing powers.
Yeah.
So just to have a guy that's using his wits and his, countless wealth, but his wits, and to be able to compete with people that have supernatural skill. And in this, even when you strip away all the resources and the wealth, and he just has spare parts, and he makes that clunky Iron Man suit, but that is so incredibly believable that it seems as though we could have something like that right now, even though it doesn't really seem practical. Like when he takes off and flies, and he just has that one reserve and can get out of here. I mean, was blown away in the theater, and still it works. And Obadiah Stane is a great villain.
Yes, agreed.
And it is the cornerstone of now. It's the cornerstone of an industry change that nobody anticipated.
Yeah. Yeah. Agreed. Agreed.
Yeah. All these years later, still just as good to me.
Yeah. And that's the thing that's fascinating about the movie too, is it's like, there's such a, how can I say this correctly? There's such a fuck it feeling to the movie. Like we're just going to have some fun here and see what happens. We're going to create this character. We're going to take it out of the comics, and we're just going to nerd the F out and have some fun and make a combo of this character, because Tony Stark is not funny in the comics. Let's put that right on the table. It is Robert Downey Jr.'s portrayal, Jon Favreau's script. I think he wrote this one too. That is the funniness that makes Tony Stark so charming and such an essential foundation of the movie version of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And they go all out in this movie, and they still find a way to give him a heart, literally and figuratively, and let him connect with Pepper Potts, and then give him this villain who is essentially a father figure who's replaced the troublesome relationship he had with his own father, and then he betrays him, which is such a massive turn of events for a man who is going through this transition process out of being an uncaring rich guy who sold weapons to whoever into this, in essence, humanitarian who wants to now protect the world all over the place, and also him growing as a human being. It's like a Henry V story a little bit thrown into the situation, except that Falstaff turns out to be a huge villain instead of, someone who lets him go and moves on. So this is so fascinating when you look at the movie. And in the end, and I agree with you, man, Obadiah Stane does not get enough love for being a Marvel villain. Jeff Bridges' voice is used to perfection. I mean, that's the dude, ladies and gentlemen. That is the dude with his hair shorn off, that beard of his, the suit, all of it. And the way he plays with Tony up until he finally loses is stellar, just stellar. So yeah, the film still holds up. Favreau's directed a fantastic film. Like I said, the Avengers is later, and it holds up less for me than Iron Man does. So yeah. I
mean, I have Iron Man above Avengers. I'll watch it.
Yeah.
Before I watch Avengers again. But anyway, so that is my 7.
Okay. What is your 6?
My 6 is good old Doctor Strange.
Oh, okay. So basically, just I'm a couple of slots off with you. All right, fair enough. Yeah.
One of the characters that I think an origin story was necessary. You have to explain, because he has powers unlike everyone else. He is completely different, and that's genuinely saying something.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen glimpses, I guess, on some level of some of the powers that Thor has access to. With oh shoot, what is that called? The thing that can transport them.
Oh yeah, is it the Mind Stone that can transport him?
No. When he
Time
calls,
Stone. Sorry, Time Stone. Yeah.
When he calls to Idris Elba, and they open that gate, that portal. It's like it's a magical kind of element, that aspect.
Oh, you mean Chiwetel Ejiofor, not Idris Elba. Is that what you're talking?
No. Idris Elba is the one that has the big sword, and he puts it into.
Oh, you're talking about
the
Thor. You're talking about Thor. Oh. Because I'm sorry, I got lost.
Yeah. I was
talking about Doctor Strange. But yeah,
you've seen aspects of.
Yeah, the portal or whatever it's called.
What is that called?
Yeah.
Anyway, it doesn't matter. But we've seen flashes of things outside of I can shoot lasers out of my hands or my eyes or whatever the case is.
Right.
So Doctor Strange, exists like when this parallel dimensional type of being that, unbeknownst to even the Avengers, is protecting the world, him and the other sorcerers.
Yeah.
And, you brought in magic, which should seem kind of ridiculous, even though we're talking about superheroes that can fly.
Yeah.
And now we're throwing magic on top of that, but yet it really works. Like, I didn't enjoy Doctor Strange in the comics.
Oh, really? Interesting. Okay.
Now, granted, I didn't dive that deep into it, so there very well could have been runs that I would have enjoyed thoroughly, but every time he popped in, it was just like the magic threw me off.
Yeah, understood.
And I was like, that's not really my cup of tea. I'd rather, read these other things over here.
Right.
Which I was just used to, I guess, or what I wanted. So I didn't know exactly how it was going to translate on the screen. And I think the little power circle hand motion thing that they make.
Yeah.
I can't imagine how ridiculous that looked on set. If all these people are standing, they're all just doing this, just waving in the air. And the director has to be like, trust me, this is going to look sweet.
Yeah.
And you have to put a lot of faith in. Now, had this been, Iron Man had come out first, it might have been more difficult for the actors to accept.
Oh, yeah.
But once Cumberbatch and Ejiofor, line up to do this, and Mads Mikkelsen, they already know that Marvel's got a proven track record.
Yeah.
I also like the fact that ultimately when he comes and he takes on the villain at the very end, he doesn't beat him by clobbering him over the head or using the magic to create some ultimate weapon that's going to destroy them.
Right.
It's more, I am willing to suffer through this as long as you are, because my patience and determination and basically endurance for this is greater than yours. And that is one of his best attributes. He gamed the systems. It's I don't know. It's just another guy that I can kind of identify with on some level. He does have access to things that don't exist, obviously.
Right.
But I don't know. The relatability was higher than somebody that can fly.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you, man. And I think that's what's so fascinating about Doctor Strange, because we're presented with an asshole doctor who is really shitty to his girlfriend, shitty to his staff, shitty in the world. But clearly there's something deeper going on for the reasons of why he's shitty. And it's the car accident that really exposes his weakness and his fear. And it's just by happenstance that he is, connected with somebody who tells him where he can go. He goes there and he is just like challenged on so many levels, and he has to embrace his humility and his care for the world. The irony that the person who could give a shit about the world is the one who is converted into one of its greatest protectors. And that's what's so great about the movie. And we've all been, I mean, anybody who's self-aware or anybody who's had stuff they've had to kind of confront and get past can find, I think, a relatability or a universal appeal with what Cumberbatch does in creating Doctor Strange or Stephen Strange in the movie. His journey of like, I know I have to figure this out. I have to fight or I'm going to die. For all his money, and it's true, for all the fucking money you have, if you haven't fixed this, it's not going to matter one goddamn bit. You're going to do self-destructive shit. You're going to get yourself in bad situations. You're going to piss away all the money, like people who win the lottery and don't understand how to deal with money. All of that will happen because you don't have a healthy sense of self-worth. And if you don't have that, that's what's going to eventually erode you and drive everyone else away. And so he explores that. And you're right, Matt, the brilliance of the ending. We've spoken about a couple times on the show. Dormammu coming in and the fact that he has to outsmart this extra or this demon essence or whatever.
It's being.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah.
Don't know how to describe.
Yeah. And it's great. The Tilda Swinton conversations. Look, and I got it. A lot of people were upset that it was Tilda and not an Asian man. And I totally understand that. But I do think like this is one of those rare instances where it works because when I look at Tilda Swinton, I don't see race. You know, other people may see race, but she's such a uniquely different kind of energy in the world that I don't see race necessarily with her. And so the fact that she could, connect to this character and play it so well with Cumberbatch, it just helps. And Chiwetel Ejiofor is the villain and Wong as another one of the sorcerers there. It's just great. So it's a lot of
Mads
fun.
Mikkelsen is the villain.
Yeah, sorry. He becomes the villain at the end, does Chiwetel Ejiofor. But yes, Mads Mikkelsen is the villain throughout the movie. You're right. Yes. But all of it, just great stuff. Just great actors for sure. Johanna's mad. He said Doctor Strange was an absolute waste of Mads Mikkelsen. That's incorrect. But okay, whatever you say.
Teach their own. But I would get, cognitive test, Johanna might come in hand. Maybe some new glasses.
Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure. I did look over in the chat and someone said, it might have been Johanna, that the best part of Doctor Strange was everything before the car accident. Like, oh, okay. Great joke. But so when he was just an absolute prick.
Yeah.
That was, I realized that more than likely that is not what you're saying, but.
Yeah. All right.
Well, I thoroughly enjoyed.
I do too, man. It's one of I don't own many of the MCU movies in 4K. Doctor Strange is one of them that I have to have. All right. So that was your 7 and 6, right?
Correct.
So my 7 is the punt from earlier for you, Captain America: Civil War.
Okay.
Yeah. Good film. I like this film. Great battles. I love the way it splits the team. I love the way that we get Spider-Man having his moment at the airport.
Sure.
And I love the conversation between whether you're Team Cap or Team Iron Man, the Black Panther sequence, the stuff with Bucky, because I was Team Iron Man, because for me, you don't sacrifice 30 other people for your best friend simply because you know your best friend more than those 30 other people. If you claim to be about saving everyone, then you can't give preferential treatment just because you know somebody or somebody's a member of your family. If the greater good is not to allow this person to keep going, that's my opinion overall on it. But thought it was all well done. That fight sequence between, I'm sorry. Anyway, go ahead, Matt. Sorry, go ahead.
But you could say that Cap was ultimately right. Bucky wasn't a bad person. He was just in a bad situation. And once you rescue him, had he rescued him from that situation and he continued to being the Winter Soldier and killing people, then it's just like, okay, Cap, you're flat out wrong. But he was corrupted down to his, soul on some level, and it had to be rescued.
Yeah.
But yeah, Civil War, Helmut Zemo is fantastic. Just manipulates through information. he has a little bit Bond villain-esque vibes to him.
He does. Yes.
Kind of like Javier Bardem's, I can't remember the character's name.
Yeah.
But just laying a big trap and sitting back and watching, like, oh no, being captured was part of my trap. And look, the airport scene is excellent.
Yeah.
And then the fighting later on between the three of them is excellent.
Yeah, stellar.
I just knew that I rewatch others more than I watch this one because I kind of lump it in with the other one a little bit on some level in my head, and I may or may not prefer the other one, much like you.
Yeah.
So that's why it's also that factored into the placement. I was like, well, the Cap's going to get a decent amount of love on my list, so
yeah,
spread it around a little.
But you're right. I mean, the airport sequences are great, and everything we spoke about is great. There's just, I don't know. There's just something that feels a little bit like it's not Captain America's movie. It's more like people have said Avengers 1.5. And I think that's a fair criticism, or Avengers 2.5, whatever it is. And I think that's a fair criticism. And I think that's what kind of dings the movie a little bit for me in the end. It is a film to get us to the next thing. It is not necessarily a film, although it does present Black Panther and Spider-Man. In the end, though, I think it's about getting us to the other movies, not necessarily standing alone as its own piece of work, in my opinion. So, and Zemo's coming back as the villain in Falcon and Winter Soldier, Matt. So, I mean, I'm just saying, you might like it.
Maybe. I don't know. As of right now, that I did see that trailer and I was like, it looks all right.
Yeah. Let's see. Michael D. Boyle says Silva was Javier Bardem's name in Skyfall. I forgot about that.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I wouldn't have been able to pull that for $1 million.
All right, so my number 6, which is probably a punt for Matt. I'm sure it's a punt for Matt now at this point, I guess. Guardians of the Galaxy. That's my number 6.
Yes, it is.
Okay. All right.
Yes, cool. It is. Not by much, but it is.
Okay. What's your 5 then?
My 5, get ready to say the words punt, I'm assuming. Probably not by much, but is Winter Soldier.
Oh, yeah. That's a punt. Absolutely.
Okay.
Punt! All right.
So then, what's your 5?
Oh, my 5 is Avengers Infinity War.
Guess what 4-letter word I'm about to say?
Oh, all right. This will be interesting.
That's a punt.
All right. So then what's your 4?
My 4 is Guardians.
Okay. All right. So that was a slight punt from 6.
Yeah.
Go ahead, man.
Pure rewatchability.
Yeah.
If we did this in a year's time, Guardians 2 might even make the list because I do watch that a decent clip at this point.
Wow.
And I think it'll overtake a couple others on this. I like the Guardians franchise, and I'm excited about the direction it's going and bringing Thor in because, we got a nice flash of the interplay between the two Chris's and the dynamic that's going to have within the overall ship, all the different characters. But in Guardians, I mean, we talked about it in the past, but on the outside looking in, when they announce it, it's just like, oh man, you guys definitely playing with house money on this one. Just can't lose. So you might as well try anything. And to see it pulled off so successfully and you instantly bond with all these different characters. I mean, this went on to make more money than a whole slew of more established characters.
Yep.
And I think that's a testament to Gunn just being able to bring to life and make us as an audience connect with these individuals and have a vested interest in whether or not like Gamora and Star-Lord couple up, or Rocket dealing with his issues. That rightly so. When he has meltdowns saying, do you think I like what I am? Like I'm Frankenstein's monster. Do you think that's, how do you think that, what do you think that does to me and my mental and my psyche?
Yeah.
It's like, wow, it's a great question. And, I don't know how much exactly you're going to explore within that, but even to bring it up. And they get a good balance of humor on top of, I think the visuals too on this, they bring in a color palette that hadn't really existed on some level. And you have these oranges and yellows and purples that are just beautiful to look at. And they go to worlds that we haven't seen before. I mean, what they're harvesting, are they Eternals? What are those things? The original beings that died off, and now there's that mining colony that the collector lives in.
Oh,
They're mining the internal, a structure of this former being. It's like, wow, what a great concept to bring to life. They just did it over and over and over again. It just magically goes from one to the next and the next. And it all feels lived in and real. as opposed to sterile environment after sterile environment.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's the relationships between the characters. That's what kind of sells me on the movie. They're all so uniquely different. As you said, Rocket Raccoon, he's essentially presented to us as a kid, as a raccoon who can handle his shit. Smart alecky as hell. Looks like there's no issues here. And then he has that moment where he reveals the experience that he went through, which is why he's such a sarcastic, biting, at times gruff individual, because he's had to be in order to survive the abuse and the experiments that were done on him throughout his life. So, you understand why he's built the way he's built. Groot is just this sweet character, but can absolutely kill at a moment's notice if it means saving everyone else. Then, of course, Quill and his mom issues. Then you have Gamora and her dad issues. And you throw in Dax and his family issues. So there's so much. All these people have such unresolved issues, personal issues in their own lives, yet they come together because there is a sense subconsciously that they need to become a family in order to help each other, confront and resolve the inner shit that each of them is going through. And then you add all the stuff you talked about, Matt, the incredible visuals, the colors, the vibrancy of the colors in the film, the interesting locations that they go to, the different worlds that are presented, species that are presented. All of that just works so well in Guardians of the Galaxy. And the humor. James Gunn really brings so much of the humor out of all these characters. And, what a great introduction, even though Batista had been in other smaller films, straight to DVD films and the like. What a great introduction to what this guy can actually do as an actor in this movie. So, yeah.
Yeah, he gave complexity and dimension to characters that easily could have been one-dimensional.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
Rocket, Groot, and Drax all easily could have been just, Rocket's loud and brash. Groot,
right,
is C-3PO or R2-D2, just like, I guess closer to R2. You don't know exactly what he's saying at any time.
Yeah.
And it takes the other characters interacting with him to understand the context of what he's saying. And Drax easily, just because he's so even keel, so to speak.
Right.
That somberness could have been dull as all hell, but they managed to mine it for great comedic effect. And then when they flash back to his family having passed and his motivation for wanting to kill Thanos, it all seems justified. And actually, then it starts to help build up how much of a monster Thanos is early on before we really get a taste of who Thanos is.
For sure. Okay, where are we at?
That was my 4. What do you got?
Okay, my 4 is Black Panther.
All right, go for it.
Okay. Yeah. So not on your list. So
I don't watch it as much as the others. It's
totally understood.
Yeah.
I think it might have been lower on my list if we hadn't done a revisit of it for the Cinephiles a few weeks ago with Jay and Winston. And there was something about revisiting with them and then like breaking that film down the way we did and going through the moments and hearing their experiences watching the film. It kind of gave me a whole new appreciation of the film itself, of the script, of Killmonger, of Black Panther, of his dad, all the stuff that they explore in the movie, and the idea of the responsibility, an African country would have to other Black people around the world, what would be all of that. So there were so many levels that it's working on, plus the visuals and the direction and the great performances from Chadwick and Michael B. Jordan and Forrest Whitaker and Martin Freeman and Sherry Wright and all the great people involved in it. So, just kind of for whatever reason, and Angela Bassett, of course, it just kind of dug into me a little bit deeper than it had before. And just one that I appreciate now and go back and watch multiple times whenever it's on. Like I'll leave it on whenever it's on and enjoy the action sequences as well. Yeah, that's what I would say.
Yeah, that was the one fighting it out for 10. But I know I watched Homecoming more at this point.
Yeah.
And I think it's, for me, it's, I brought it up in the show in the past. I didn't want an origin story for him.
Yeah.
I wanted him just to get in the thick of it. And I would have personally enjoyed it more. But at the same time, everything that you just brought up.
Yeah.
Completely legitimate reasons as to why it would resonate with other individuals.
Yeah.
As opposed to me. And And now that he's unfortunately passed,
Yeah.
and they're not going to recast. Although I've seen some people say, I wish you would, because it's good to see that character. We want to see that character, and it's a positive representative for all of us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whether or not they do, I don't know. It's going to be difficult to fill his shoes because he's meant so much to the MCU.
Yeah.
But in time, I mean, they're going to recast all these characters at some point.
Right. Right.
I mean, how much cash do you think it would take to get Downey Jr. to come back?
Oh, Downey Jr. I think it would.
Yeah.
I think. I don't know, man. What else is he working on? He's kind of moved into producing more than actually being on screen. So I don't think we're done with him in any way, shape, or form. I think down the road he will come back. Chris Evans couldn't even stay away for more than a year, and he's already coming back. So to me, it's.
Oh, is he really?
Oh yeah, yeah. He was in deadline that he was in negotiations to come back. So. And I always I felt he walked away from it too early anyway. He's still in his 30s, dude. There's a lot you can do with Captain America into your 40s and what have you. So I thought it was weird that he walked away from it. So
do you want to just be that?
Right. And I think that's at the end of the day, maybe he just felt like, well, you know, the thing is when you start something when you're younger, Matt, and then you walk away from it when you're older, maybe while you're taking that time away, you actually do kind of reevaluate things and feel like, well, yeah. There are worse things I could be. I'm not Mr. Furley. I'm not Urkel. I'm Captain America. That matters more than
it's like the cast of Star Trek. They bristled against that for a long time, and then eventually kind of came back around and like, you know what? This isn't the worst thing to be known for, so might as well embrace it.
Right.
I don't know. They will recast it, but there's got to be a point at which all the actors are genuinely willing not to come back to do it over again.
Yeah.
But yeah, just how many points do they have to offer Downey Jr. to come back is my question.
That's a good question. I wonder.
Yeah, because he's making buku bucks off of all these.
You're not wrong.
There's not much motivation monetarily unless he just unfortunately loses it all.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
Cool. All right. So then what's your 3?
My 3 is Endgame.
All right. That's a punt.
Okay.
Yeah. My 3 is Thor Ragnarok.
That is a punt.
Oh, looks like we're going to have a coin flip.
We are. Somebody get a coin ready out there.
Somebody get a coin. Robert, do you have the, well, I guess I don't have I'll put the link in the chat in a little bit. All right. So then.
Well, if they want to put their email in the chat, then I can just email them directly. I've got it queued up.
Oh, okay. All right. Sure.
That way, instead of just putting the link up and we get 5 people coming in.
First one to respond with their email in the chat, you will be able to flip the coin for us.
I'll cut and paste it. So dial it in. There's like a 10-second delay. What do we got? Who's going to send it in? I don't know.
All right, we'll move on. I'll keep tabs on the chat.
Yeah.
So
I've got it open too.
So what's your number 2?
My deuce is Infinity War.
Wow. So wait, I'm confused. So Winter Soldier didn't make your list at all? Is that what you're telling me?
No, that was my 5. We already.
Oh, we said that was a punt. That's right. You're right. Go ahead. Sorry, I got confused. All right. Oh, it looks like Michael D. No, wait, hold on. No, it looks like Drew Enns wins. He put his email in first. So have you got that?
I do not see it, but I will scan upwards until I find.
I put it on the screen there as well.
Perfect.
Cool. All right, Drew Enns, you're going to come in live and flip the coin.
All right, sending it off now, Drew.
There you go, Drew.
Boom.
You got the link.
We are definitely going to have to do that.
All right, got a bit confused there. Sorry about that. All right, so your number 2, say that again. Your number 2 is what now?
Infinity War.
All right, go ahead. Yes, that was my number 5 as well.
I don't know, man. I was sick of origin stories at this point. And in essence, it's a Thanos origin story because you really need to build up why he's just going to go Roadhouse on 45 different superheroes.
Yeah.
And it's utterly believable. Plus, the photorealism of Thanos himself is incredible. It is such good CGI that it's a character out of whole cloth. I mean, they had Josh Brolin on set, in a motion capture suit, and they've got that camera that's out in front of him, hanging off of an arm as he walks around, so they can capture his facial, movements and whatnot. But then, it's not like they just take that and use it to like slap a CGI skin over the top of it. That is all referenced. Then they make a 3D model that mimics what he's doing there. So they have to go in and create everything they do with a normal CGI character, but find me another one that when you stack it up next to any of these other individuals in a scene looks just as real, because his henchmen around him look like CGI characters.
Yeah.
Like the guy that has telekinesis looks cool and all, but you can tell he's fake.
Yes. And
the big muscle bound, his hammer, so to speak, when the rest of the world is a nail. Yeah. He looks like a CGI character. And the female, one that's in that mix that squares off with Scarlet Witch and Black Widow in the trenches outside of Wakanda. Yeah. She looks fake. And then somehow we go to a guy that has a slight purple hue to his skin and feel like I could see him down on Melrose with the other weirdos, or down at Venice Beach at Muscle Beach just lifting. It's like he looks so real, and the overall arc is very satisfying. Even though obviously the winners didn't win, so to speak, right? But the emotional punch of these people, quote unquote, getting dusted, actually had some impact. I mean, you knew they were all coming back.
Right. In some form or another.
Yeah. The only ones that may or may not be dead are Loki and Gamora.
Possibly Vision, depending on how WandaVision ends up.
Yeah. Possibly Vision.
Yeah.
And then in the next one, not Scarlet Witch, Black Widow.
Yeah, Black Widow.
But from this one, like Gamora died. Okay. Don't know if she's going to come back. Like Vision, boy, he got his head messed up pretty bad. And I also like the slowly setting up the ultimate I am Iron Man.
Yeah.
Like, just these subtle little things, these early ons, and then the switch. It's one of the rare times where the setup to me was better than the punch. Because Endgame opens with that first hour of, I fully understand why we have to do this hour, because you got to build to this huge climax. Right. But Infinity War from point A to point B is just a more adventurous ride, so to speak. And I think for that, the rewatchability. Now, the excellence of the execution, I think for the other, they landed perfectly 20 some odd movies.
Gotcha.
But rewatchability is where it comes down to for my list. So that's why I put Infinity War deuce.
Yeah, you make great points, man. And maybe you're talking me into moving Infinity War just above Black Panther into 4, possibly. But yeah, I mean, I hear what you're saying. Absolutely. You're right. Sometimes you can get so caught up in thinking about Endgame that you forget how much is actually laid out in Infinity War, how much is previewed and prefaced, and how many of the seeds are laid for what you enjoy in Endgame. And certainly that is there in Infinity War from top to bottom. Some great interactions, the stuff with Thanos, the stuff when he grabs the moon and all of that, the back and forth with him and Downey Jr. Stark, him and Stark is stellar. Peter Quill messing up that one moment when they could get the thing off of him, which is great tragedy. And it perfectly makes sense for Peter Quill's character, just perfectly makes sense. And then of course, the ending, which was so stellar. And I remember the second time I saw it, I just kind of burst out crying at a moment with there's something about the delivery of Tom Holland in that moment that is so genuine that it really just kind of gets you. And then that, of course, that scene where Strange just lifts up his one finger when Downey Jr. asks him if there's any scenario where this ends up working out for them. That lays the groundwork for Endgame, right? Exactly. And so all of that is there, and it's so stellar and well done. And the way they're able to, marry all these pieces so effectively and tell this massive story, yet have these really genuinely small moments. I mean, Thanos killing Gamora, for God's sakes.
I was about to bring it up. That was
powerful. Yeah.
When she's like, "What are you crying for?" and comes to the realization that she may not love him, but he genuinely loves her.
Yes.
And thinks of her as a daughter. And this monster this monster, and then it makes you evaluate like, oh my God, should I have feelings? I don't know. I shouldn't.
Not for this guy.
Steadfast in my resolve. Yes, he killed my family.
Yeah.
But when he has to make that sacrifice, that's a genuine sacrifice for a guy that, and the sad fact of the matter is some of, his logic is genuine in that it's not for his own personal gain. It's for, in his eyes, the benefit of all. And he is willing to sacrifice just as much as anyone else if the ultimate goal is what he feels is the only outcome that is best for all of us.
Yeah.
And that amount of convictions, even if you don't agree with it, you have to at least respect. I mean, it's, doesn't make him any less of a monster.
No.
But at least he's not a hypocrite.
Yeah. And in the end, he's not wrong. You could argue that he's not wrong because of what some people say in Endgame, wow, there's no pollution and there's
the whales are back in the Hudson.
Yeah, that's a massive moment. But of course, the exchange is so many people are suicidal and depressed and have lost the thing they care about and what have you. So there's the other side of it too, the massive overall emotional toll and mental health toll it would take if half the galaxy, half the universe just disappeared or died. Like what that moment must feel like in a powerful way. All right, so where are we at?
That was my deuce.
Okay, so then my 2 is Captain America: The Winter Soldier, which is your 5. Is that right?
My 5, correct.
Okay, yeah. I mean, what a film for me. The political thriller of it all. I mean, it just touches me on that 70s level that I really, really love. I love the elevator fight scene. Love the interactions with him and Nick Fury. This is the idealistic person versus the quote unquote realistic person, their ideology slamming into each other about what they should do and how they should protect the country. Robert Redford being the turncoat in all of this, seeing all of that. And then the confrontations going on throughout the movie, the fight with Bucky on the highway, which is absolutely stellar with him and Black Widow. Yes, Black Widow getting into it. All of that just top to bottom, and he's confronting all these things. And then Crossbones, Frank Grillo being thrown into this mix as well. So much of it through across the board is just stellar to watch and stellar to enjoy. I love the script and I love what it does for the character. And of course, we get Falcon in Winter Soldier as well. The introduction of Falcon on your left, which of course comes to fruition in Endgame. So such a great moment. So overall, just I think it's the best written movie of all of them. And that's why I put it at number 2. Yeah.
It does. It's got the espionage, political Cold War aspect of Hydra infiltrating.
Yeah.
That is really excellent. And the Robert Redford, switcheroo on this guy's been America's best friend.
Yeah.
Or the guy that you want to be friends with for 30, 40 years and to just throw that on its head. Was a great choice and glad he signed up for it. It's like, what a perfect spot for you. You don't need to be some elder statesman superhero.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that. Anthony Hopkins is excellent as Odin.
Right.
Like, it totally can work, but if you don't want to be part of specifically that type of, vibe or whatnot, just to be a spy, a deep spy, a mole within the CIA, NSA, whatever, branch of the government. I believe it's CIA.
Yeah.
Or SHIELD, the equivalent thereof. It's got a bunch of different levels. It works as just a straight superhero film, but then you have the political espionage, Cold War era kind of vibe and layers to it, and it elevates it. I just watch the others more, but it's top 5 for me.
Fair. Totally fair. Cool. All right. So where are we at right now?
My 1.
Okay.
If that was your deuce.
Yes.
Which is Thor Ragnarok.
Okay.
Which people in the chat already, I think they started off before we even really got into it and said, my guess is Knost number 1 is Thor Ragnarok. Good guess. A surprise to no one. Easily the most rewatchable for me.
It's a stellar film. So my number 3.
So good.
Mm-hmm.
So good. And I'm excited to have Taika back in whatever form he wants to do in this. And now I'm excited for him with Star Wars and any other project he wants to get into. I am looking forward to it. He got the most out of Hemsworth and Hiddleston.
Yeah, he really did.
Just they have a camaraderie and a kinship that translates. I mean, they've had it in other ones, but when Thor comes to the realization when they're in that hangar type of area that Loki's never going to change.
Yeah.
It was a nice build up to that, and finally realizing, as much as I want to project onto you what I feel you can be, I now know that you'll never be that.
Yeah, it's not in your impulse. It's not in your instincts to do it.
Exactly.
Whereas my journey as Thor through the first 3 movies was coming to terms with and of course the Avengers movies or whatever. It was like experiencing this world, coming to terms with who I want to be, dealing with my dad issues. And then, of course, Odin's death is what is the final thing that kind of elevates Thor out of this thing and gets him to embrace what Asgard really is, right? And it's not until then, of course, and then, of course, the fight with Thanos and all that through Endgame, that all comes a little bit later. But at this stage in Ragnarok, this is what this is. And it's his maturity that he's grown through the 3 movies that you said, Matt, allows him to be like, you know what? Yeah, Loki is who he is. And all through that nutty situation there with Jeff Goldblum on that planet and the fight with Hulk, all of that leads to them fighting there in Asgard and all of that. And right in that moment where he just accepts him and he says, you know, I know what you are. I always know what you are now, and I'm going to leave you here, but I'm going to always try to outsmart you and outwit you. And there was just a different approach than he had with Loki in the past. Like the frustration with Loki in the past has now turned into an acceptance. And you can mine that. You can still mine that for humor. You can still mine that for conflict. It's all still there, just from a different, more mature point of view. And that was great.
By accepting Loki for who he is, you might actually get Loki to change a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah,
because he's not going to bristle against your idea of what he should be. Because in essence, you're doing the parental, I'm not mad at you, I'm disappointed.
Right. And he'll push back against it. He'll rebel.
So if you're just like, listen, I know you're a scumbag. And now he's like, I'm not a full scumbag, so maybe he'll be a less scumbaggy. But you brought up Jeff Goldblum. I mean, just chef's kiss edition. Him with the Jeff Goldblumian pauses and the little and the interactions with him and that New Zealand actress that Taika Waititi's used in Hunt for the Wilder People. She was in Stateless. She's been in a bunch of different stuff. She was the voice of one of the voices in Soul.
Yep.
But what a great choice for those two. Who in a million years would have thought of that? Right. Just over and over and over again. To see Thor scared when they're leading up to meeting the Grand Master. You're about to meet the 3, 2, and he starts screaming. Like, when has he shown that much fear ever?
Yeah.
And then it just comes to this banal room. Like, okay. God of Thunder. You got sparkles coming out of your fingers. Every choice. I am a fan of, I believe, every choice in that movie.
Yeah. And Tessa Thompson as well. And that's the thing that is what some people sometimes forget about Taika Waititi. And I think what people subconsciously love is that amidst all the madness and the jokes and the off-color stuff and the weird humor that he finds in situations and the vibrancy of it, there's a humanity and a real emotional anchor to all of his movies, from like even what we do in the shadows about this desire to fit into the society and what have you. There's in all the humor, there's still this sense of like they're the underdogs, even though they essentially could kill people left and right as vampires. but they're trying to just somehow fit into this society so they can function. And you go into, of course, Jojo Rabbit, this idea of, Hitler and the Nazis and all this, and the kid loses his mom, and how he navigates that world and the lunacy of that world.
Yeah.
It is so well done, but there is still the heart in the relationship with the kid and Thomas and Mackenzie, the girl in the walls. And then this film as well, for all the madness of it, that moment where Odin dies, fuck, man, that moment affects me every single time when he says to him, if you've ever had any, issues with your dad or whatever, like that moment where he says to him, I'm not as strong as you. And he goes, and he just stops and turns. He says, no, you're stronger. And there's levels to that, because you found out that Odin was a complete asshole with his daughter, raping and pillaging and killing.
Yeah. How do you think you become?
Yeah, exactly. But Thor is not going to do that. And that's when he says to him, you are stronger to resist the impulses to do that. You're a better person than me because you want to rule from a different perspective. And that's powerful, man.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Carl Urban's character shouldn't work, and it does. Kate Blanchett is so amazing. This slender woman is more menacing than a boatload of other individuals that have supposed to be these, over the top, menacing presences within superhero films.
And she's sexy as hell.
Yeah. And they just got a perfect balance between Thor's journey, his emotional journey, the action overall, the comedy itself. I think it just has the perfect blend overall for me.
Yeah, I agree. It's a great thing. Not enough to put it number one for me, but certainly enough to put it in the top three, for sure. And then my number one then I guess is Avengers Endgame, which is your three.
Yep.
I understand the argument. Oh, all these other films had to exist for this film to exist. That's fair. But sticking the landing is still incredibly difficult. And so what I think the Russo brothers were able to do in Endgame, sticking that landing so fucking well to lead to that moment where Robert Downey Jr. says, I am Iron Man. It is incredible. The multiple nebulas, the two nebulas like arguing, with each other, all that you've got going on with going back in time, joking about all of that, the intelligent Hulk, Professor Hulk. All of that throughout really works. Them 5 years later exploring the mental health and the PTSD issues that could happen to people when something like this happens, even superheroes, having Captain America leading that group, which he's getting more out of, or as much out of as anybody in the group. Scarlett Johansson and what she's negotiating with her guilt. We get a little more with Captain Marvel, of course. And then how everybody is doing, and then how they're endeavoring to turn it all back. And just from the beginning, Robert Downey Jr. with Nebula and the ship, this idea of all of that, bringing it back, and then the massive, awesome fucking fight at the end that is straight out of a comic book, a comic book annual.
Oh, Bill, that's
double size.
It's Secret Wars.
Yeah.
It's something they built to forever, and then to pull it off. I mean, you knew they weren't dead, right?
Right. But you didn't know how they were going to bring them back.
Exactly.
That would work overall. Right.
But to see Cap cast in light and looking over across the battlefield and in this ominous black wave is the opposing force. And he, you know what? I will die standing up against you. So be it. And then just the on your left still will elicit goosebumps and the hairs on the back of my neck to stand up and see them all come in. It's a gratifying feeling each and every time I watch it. Each and every time. That is impressive. I love all the little, as much as, I said earlier, I understand why the first hour of the film has to be what it is, which is them dealing with their first true colossal failure. All of them. And I think my favorite representation within all of that is when Black Widow is talking to Rocket and Captain Marvel and all that early on, and the one woman from Walking Dead.
Can't
remember her name.
Yeah, Denai Guerrero, the actress. Yeah.
And she was like, "Oh, there was an earthquake off the coast." And Black Widow's like, what are we doing about that? Because she's overcorrecting.
Yeah.
She's trying to fix every problem, trying to stay on top of this so nothing bad happens again. And she just looks her point blank. She's like, nothing. It's an earthquake underneath the ocean. We don't do it. We've never done anything. There's nothing to do.
Yeah, exactly.
Stop it.
Yeah.
Like you have to move on.
Yeah.
It's a great little piece within the script. It's a nothing throwaway, but her just trying to now, she felt the sand slip through her fingers and she's trying to, stop it.
Yeah.
It's like, unfortunately that time has passed.
Yeah. Agreed.
Although someone pointed out, and I didn't think about this, the snapping people back into existence, so many people would have died because we wouldn't have had the systems in place anymore to take care of that many people.
Well, yeah, and it happens in WandaVision. You see how all these people are showing back up at the hospital who had disappeared, and where are they going to go? Who's got rent for them? Where are they going to live?
Where are they going to live?
How are they going to get a job? Right.
We don't make enough food anymore for those missing 3.5 billion people.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And it's going to take time. We have to ramp up to that. I hadn't even remotely thought of that. It was like 6 months ago or something. I read it at some point over quarantine. I was like, oh yeah, that's a great point. Don't care, but it's a great point.
And they haven't addressed it yet fully ever in the MCU. They played it for laughs in Far From Home, and they did try to treat it seriously in WandaVision. But you're right, but they don't address the actual infrastructure that you would have to create in order to get 3.5 billion people back and make them functioning members of society.
Yeah, even if you said, okay, we'll slaughter every animal that we have,
right,
and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, it's still going to take time to get that to people.
I mean, the possibility exists, Matt. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Sorry.
Nothing. I was going to say the grain will take a while, et cetera.
Yeah. The possibility exists that's how you create this foundation of people who don't trust the heroes, who don't trust because they got blipped and then they got brought back, and now they're struggling to find a house, find a job, find a place to live, eat. And so the anger can overtake at that point and become a foundation of people who are against the heroes.
Yeah, you get another Helmut Zemo.
Yeah, right. Exactly. And they build an army from that.
Yeah.
So anything is possible.
We get a Lex Luthor that comes out of this and be like, these people have too much power.
It's true.
Yeah. It's not a bad tack for them.
Yeah.
The people rising up against.
It's always possible.
Yeah. With the Dinklage's character in Days of Future Past of we can't be exterminated.
Right. Right.
All right. Well, there we go.
Yep. There's our separate lists. And if anyone has bongos while we're putting this list together, if you want to play the bongos for us, send in your email as well. And Matt will send you the link.
I've got another one queued up just in case for bongos. And then I can queue up more if we want to bring anybody in their 2 cents real quick. So do you want to bring in Drew? Because we need a coin flip.
Yes, we will.
We will. Gate.
Okay. All right. Let's bring him in. Drew Enns, one of our fans here. What's up, Drew? How you doing, brother?
I'm doing well. How are you all doing?
Oh, listen to that mic. Oh,
not too shabby. Not too shabby at all.
Yeah.
All right. So you got your coin ready, sir?
Got a coin.
Well, let's get there first. We might have more coin flips.
We will
let's start building the list first.
Yeah, but number one is a coin flip already.
Fine. Now, which side? Now, do you have a Batman and a Superman coin, or is it heads and tails?
Well, it's one that Knost sent to me.
That's son of a bitch!
Perfect.
I knew it.
Yeah.
Can I see that? What exactly did I send you?
Just a normal quarter.
See that?
It's really going to help us out, though. So I won't tell them which way it's weighted, but you know.
If I sent it to you, wink, I know which side is weighted. So
right.
It cost more in postage than that is worth, and it was worth my time.
Who is calling it? Am I calling it, or are you calling it?
I've never called one, so how about that? Or not never, but it's rare when I call one.
Fair enough. Do it.
I'll preemptively call tails.
Okay. Go ahead, Drew.
Heads.
Oh yes.
That looked like the shittiest flip I've ever seen.
It was because I'm trying to fit it in like this little tiny window so that you can see it, but it was heads.
Heads. It is Avengers Endgame. Yes.
True, you destroyed a beautiful friendship before it got off the ground.
Okay. We can work it back, I think.
I don't think we can. We're on Kitty Hawk about to take off. And you're like, you ever thought about pouring kerosene on these wings? Like, no, I haven't. You son of a bitch. All right. So Endgame. And for Ragnarok, you say Infinity War, I have at 2, and you have that at 5.
Yeah.
Winter Soldier, you have where?
Actually, I've changed. You talked me into moving it up to 4. So Infinity War is now my 4. Black Panther is my 5.
So then, so I would say it goes Infinity War, then Winter Soldier.
Oh, because that's your 2? Yeah, all right. Yeah. That's fair. So Avengers game, Thor Ragnarok, Infinity War, Winter Soldier.
Correct.
Okay. All right.
Then let's see. We both have Guardians, Doctor Strange, Iron Man, Civil War, Homecoming. So we don't have Black Panther or Avengers.
Right.
Let's see. We have
might be the flip.
Guardians at 4 and 6.
I have it at 6. Yes.
All right. So Guardians next. Well, doing this logic, I'd say then Guardians, Doctor Strange, Iron Man.
Okay. I can live with that. And then what? Civil War or Homecoming? Where are we at now?
8, 9, and 10. Yeah, I'd say probably Civil War.
Civil War's my 7.
So it's
Homecoming's my 10. My R10s, right? It's Homecoming.
Yeah. All right, so we got the final one. So Drew, once again.
Drew ends. Here we go. 1 and 10, Drew. Let's see.
Let's see it, buddy.
Are you calling it again, or do I call it?
Go for it.
All right. Heads again.
Was a much better flip, and it is heads again.
Oh yes, Black Panther. Put the Black Panther on the list.
I'm so sorry. I agree with you, by the way.
Sure you do. So, thank you. That's the nice parting gift that you get. Oh, first place won $1 million. You get a handshake. Thanks, buddy.
Just because I'm breaking up with you doesn't mean I don't love you as a person.
Exactly. It's not you.
High school.
It's not you. It's me.
Well, thank you, Drew. Appreciate it. You got anything to plug before we let you go?
Just Twitter at Drew Ends, but love you all and thank you for doing this live. It's so exciting to be able to catch it live. So
yeah, are you going to be down to be watching this consistently if we start doing it twice a month?
Yeah, I've actually blocked it out in my schedule. I had a 3 o'clock meeting. Now put 3 o'clock, 5 o'clock Eastern time on my calendar. So I'm down.
Perfect. Perfect.
Works.
Yeah.
Works.
And Rocha, you can just ask me to come and do the coin toss every time, apparently.
I like it.
I'm going to talk to StreamYard and get your email address barred from being able to access the site. So
Knost just found his new nemesis.
Yeah, Mabry. Yes, exactly. Oh man, East Coast, you say? That narrows it down. Let me just grab my knife.
Thanks, Drew. Appreciate it madly, man.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in, man. Good seeing you.
That's great. That's great. No one sent their email in to do the bongo, so I guess I'll have to do it, Matt. I guess I'll have to.
Yeah, well, it's more of a niche. Everybody's got a coin.
Yeah, I guess you're right. You're right.
And next time we can bring in somebody different for the coin. That was fun, though.
They're not that expensive, guys. You can buy a couple of bongos. All right. And thank you to Jonathan Golden Eyes again for getting us these bongos years ago. And they have endured and stood the test of time.
Exactly.
All right. So let's do it. The top 10 movies in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Yeah. All right. Here we go. At number 10,
Black Panther.
At number 9,
Spider-Man Homecoming.
At number 8,
Captain America Civil War.
At number 7,
Iron Man.
At number 6,
Doctor Strange.
At number 5,
Guardians of the Galaxy.
At number 4,
Captain America the Winter Soldier.
At number 3,
Infinity War.
and our deuce,
Thor Ragnarok.
And our number one Marvel Cinematic Universe movie is
Avengers Endgame.
Hey-oh, Marvel's Avengers Endgame.
There we go.
Nice. Good lists. I think some great movies we've talked about or one over that we haven't talked about, in quite some time, Matt. That's for sure.
And yeah, it was nice to do MCU again, to talk about the full breadth and scope of everything they've done in the interim in the 3-4 years since we did a full show devoted just to that. And thanks to everybody that showed up in the chat. There's a ton of people, and the nice thing is, I personally, I feel like for a trial run, that was pretty damn successful.
I agree. It was a lot of fun, and it's great to bring people in and hear their comments. And Matt and I, don't fret. Matt and I were reading your comments as the show was going along, so we brought in certain ones that were fun to talk about. And so we hope you all had a good time, and maybe you'll be coming back to visit us again when we do it live again in a couple of weeks. And remember, if you've got friends who are interested or friends who are $1 or $5 patrons, remind them or let them know this is happening as a perk for the $10 and above patrons. Remind them to up their contribution if they can. And this is one of the benefits that they're going to get.
Yeah, we thoroughly appreciate it. And thanks to everybody that joined us today. And for those of you listening on Tuesday or watching on Tuesday, why, hello.
Hello.
You can see the chat. I believe it posts on YouTube along with the show as it's going. And thanks to everybody that joined us today. And I think we're looking forward to the next one of these. A boatload of fun. And Bobby Carney for helping us out on the back end of this.
Yeah.
And next week we'll be doing our Boss Hog topic, and you get your shout outs, and it's technically it'll land on the 2nd of next month, but February's the shortest month, and it's the way it worked out.
That's the way it goes.
It's the way it worked out this time.
Exactly.
It takes a couple of weeks to get the topics all dialed in, and then bing, bang, boom. And then Colson is coming up middle of next month, so he's going to guest, and we've already got the topic lined up for that. So we're looking forward to having him on. And you can follow me anywhere at Matt Knost. Check out Settle the Score. And if you're into basketball, NBA, dropping dimes. And if you want to join us on this in the future, go to patreon.com/the top 10 with the number 10.
That's right. That's what you get. That's so great stuff. Yeah. All right. Thank you, everybody. You can follow me at The Rocha Says on Twitter and on Instagram. And hey, if you're listening to us on the podcast feed, just to let you know, we do have a YouTube channel. We keep plugging it all the way through this thing. You can watch us do anything that we do on the top 10 on camera if you go and subscribe to the YouTube channel. So give us some love there. It's monetized now. So the more subscribers, the more views, the more likes, all the comments, all of that helps to the visibility of the show. So remember to share this show as well. It's a Marvel Cinematic Universe show. So I imagine that this is a great one to share because a lot of your friends and family will be into it. Maybe even random strangers who follow you on your social media will be into finding out what we consider the top 10 MCU movies at this stage in the MCU universe. All right, you can follow me at The Rocha Says on Twitter and on Instagram as well. And you can go into my YouTube channel as well, youtube.com/John Rocha Says. We've been killing it with those WandaVision reviews. So come on over if you want to hear the Geek Buddies with special guest Emma Fife breaking those WandaVision episodes down. All right, that's it. We're out of here. Thanks, everybody, for joining us for this live episode. And we'll talk to you next time on another brand new episode of the Top 10.